Welcome back to On Texas Football. I'm Jeff Howe, joined by Gerry Hamilton. This is the recruiting breakdown. Got a lot to talk about, but Gerry, before we do anything, let everybody know about our wonderful sponsor, always our sponsor here on the recruiting breakdown. That's Mark Saunders.
Yeah, thank you to Mark Saunders for his 2 years of being the sole sponsor of the recruiting breakdown. And this is what you need to know about Mark. This is it in a nutshell. When it comes to protecting all your stuff, wouldn't it be great to have one place that protects all of it? I got your guy. You already know him. It's Texas All-State agent Mark Saunders. He serves the Austin and Round Rock area in the entire state of Texas. He is absolutely the only insurance agent you will need, as many on Texas football family members have come to learn over the last couple of years. Everything from your home, car, boat, to your motorcycle, RV, and even that ATV if you got one. Call Texas All-State agent Mark Saunders' office today at 512-218-8571. Here's the guarantee I'll give you. With over 35 years of experience, you'll be in great hands, not good, great hands with Texas alum Mark Saunders. Again, Austin and Round Rock area or the entire state of Texas, give him a call today, 512-218-8571.
Gerry, Mark Orfe is looking for good hands at the corner position. You need hands, you need speed, you need instincts. Look, the corner board, let's just get this out of the way at the top. The cornerback board for Texas in state, it's Jalen Lott out of Frisco Panther Creek. It's Jermaine Bishop Jr. out of Willis. Gerry, even through the coaching transition, we don't see that changing, do we?
No. Great point, Jeff. Jalen Lott's one of the best in the country. There is no doubt about it. He is a guy that Texas has always coveted, and they will continue to, as does Oregon and USC and everybody else. I mean, that's the level of talent that he is, Jalen Lott. And then Jermaine Bishop Jr. out of Willis. He's an interesting prospect. Both these guys are corners / wide receivers and return men. They're both very similar. I think Jalen Lott's trajectory definitely heads toward corner, even though Oregon and USC are trying to recruit him at receiver first to tear him away from Texas. But I still think corner's his long-term. Now with Jermaine Bishop, same thing. There's a lot of people that recruit him on either side of the ball. I think Texas leads for both of these guys. Now they have to go close it out. New coaching, obviously new position coach. Those first meetings will be in March or April when those unofficial visits happen. But Jermaine Bishop, talking to people close to him at the January 20th Junior Day, I think there's a belief that corner may be his best position long-term as well. So we'll see, though. That could change with either one of those guys. They could decide they want to play wide out, be recruited as an athlete at Texas. But right now, I think that's where it's headed.
Gerry, let's go to the out-of-state board. Mark Orfe getting settled into the job. He's made contact with some top-notch corners. We've got reclassifications. We've got visits set. We've got new offers out. A lot of moving parts at corner right now, Gerry, so I'll give the floor to you. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, we'll start with Samari Matthews, the first offer for Mark Orfe. He's out of Cornelius, North Carolina, about 10, 15 minutes north of Charlotte. Huff High, who's put out a lot of prospects over the year. They're probably the most talented high school outside of the Charlotte area that's still in that loop area. Samari Matthews has a top 4: South Carolina, Clemson, Texas, and Florida State. He's going to make official visits to all those. He'll be at Texas June 13th through 15th. I think he'll be on campus once before that as well with his parents, whether that's March 26th or 29th weekend, or whether that's April 12th weekend, or maybe a day in between. I think he'll be on campus again. But the new offer last night, very intriguing to me. Cameron Hamil. This guy's at Goodyear, Arizona, Desert Edge High School. He is so reactive. He is a great reactor, got really good feet. He sticks his foot in the ground, and he bursts, and he just accelerates in his closing speed. You see it there. He's very physical on contact. He's got good ball skills. What's interesting about Hamil is he's originally from Fort Wayne, Indiana. He played up there through his sophomore year, then moved down to Arizona. So he is not a state of Arizona guy. He's not a Southwest guy. Traditionally, he is from the state of Indiana. Texas offered him Monday night. He is expected. They're working on setting up his unofficial visit right now. He's expected to make an unofficial visit either in March or April. And then I think an official visit will be set up from there. This is a guy who, you've had a really good day in recruiting, Jeff, when Texas and Ohio State offer you the same day. And that's what happened yesterday. And Alabama offered last week. So this is one of the fastest rising corners in the country in the 26th class. And I think this is two strong offers in evaluations from Mark Orfe. If this is what Texas fans are going to get, you're going to love it a lot. And then another one that is worth mentioning here. There's a kid in Florida that that is CJ Bernal, who Texas has taken a look at. He's at Windermere. We'll see where that goes. But then there is also another guy out there in the state of California, as I pull up his name. He just reclassified from 27 to 26. Okay, and I wanted to make sure I didn't mess up his last name. Havon Finney Jr. He is out of Chatsworth, California, Sierra Canyon. Yep, that's a really talented school. All the LeBron's kids go there, and a number of other Juju Watkins. I mean, there's been a number of talented athletes that come out of there. But Havon Finney Jr. reclasses from 27 to 26. He instantly becomes one of the top 5-6 corners in this class, more than likely when all's said and done. He told me this morning that he plans to make an unofficial at Texas either in March or April. Like the other corners, the new corners on Texas board, we think if that unofficial goes well, you'll see an official visit be set up with Havon Finney, one of the top corners in the country, and that's going to be your that's going to be your list of guys. I mean, LSU, Michigan, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, USC. I mean, that's where it's at. Everybody's going to offer him now that he's a reclass guy that hasn't already. So we're seeing that board expand right now at the cornerback position. And again, the first 2 offers Orfe has made, I think, are absolute home run offers. If that's the type of evaluation Texas fans are going to get from Mark Orfe, it's going to be a tremendous hire, as I think we already kind of had an idea it was going to be.
Yeah, Texas going big game hunting at corner, Jerry. One guy we didn't mention, too, that's got a Texas offer, Justice Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
Out of St. Thomas Aquinas, brother of Minka Fitzpatrick. I just like the fact that whether it's Mark Orfe, Terry Joseph, Texas, they want guys that can help them win a national championship, and they are swinging for the fences.
Yeah, and you're 100% right to bring up Justice Fitzpatrick, obviously younger brother of Minka Fitzpatrick, one of the top safeties in the NFL, played at Alabama, originally from New Jersey, family moved to Fort Lauderdale, as they should after your kid makes it big. All right, so Justice, I was told Justice is very close to locking in an official visit to Texas, which could come later in the week. Georgia, I think, is strong competition for Justice Fitzpatrick. Kirby Smart was a big part of Minka's recruitment to Alabama prior to him going to Georgia. So Kirby Smart has Georgia getting an official visit on their big official visit weekend, May 30th through June 2nd. That is going to be strong competition for Justice Fitzpatrick, but I do believe there's legitimate interest in Texas, and Texas had really good communication with him of late, and there's a strong possibility that an official visit happens and probably a spring visit as well. But we'll have to see when he actually releases that news. But again, that's a great point, Jeff. The corner board is expanding, as we talked about when Orfe was hired, and it's expanding in an incredibly positive way out of state. There are some really talented kids that are going to be making visits to Texas this spring and in June for officials, as Texas works into probably a 2 or 3 corner class, 2 corners, a corner nickel, and obviously Jalen Lott, Jermaine Bishop Jr. at the top of that board still.
Jerry, let's stay in the state of Florida, and the other new hire that's come into the Texas staff. You have Dwayne Aquina coaching safeties, Kenoto Hudson getting promoted to coaching nickels, but Alan Clark coming over from Ohio State to coach the edge position, with PK getting to take a kind of a step back and be a kind of the roving coordinator. We've been waiting to see how this edge board is going to shake out and what it's going to look like, and we're starting to see some movement there. And Jerry, Trenton Henderson, I know, is a guy that a Pensacola kid from the state of Florida, really jumps out at you on tape, and this is a kid that Texas and Alan Clark have gone after.
Yeah, no doubt. He one of the top edge prospects in the country. Texas won a big one in Jacksonville last year, so why not go into Pensacola and give it a try with Trenton Henderson, one of the top edge prospects in the country, about 6'4.5", 225, as you see him here at Pensacola Catholic. He is scheduled to be on campus April 25th through 27th. That's actually big news. He's never been on campus before. He's already got 5 official visits set: Auburn, Vanderbilt, Alabama, Florida, Florida State. So he's a guy who those in-state schools probably are out in front for him right now, but there is real competition from everywhere. He's also taking a spring unofficial to Georgia and Michigan and potentially USC and LSU. So this is everybody in the country is coming after Trenton Henderson. I love that Texas is throwing their hat in the ring for one of the top edges in the country here. You saw Alan Clark's first offer was to Kamari Brooks out of North Oconee High in Bogart, Georgia, one of the top 2 sport guys in the Southeast, basketball/football player. You also have seen Texas recently make some pushes on a couple of other kids. There's a Jeraylin Roy out of Tupelo, Mississippi, which I think Texas is working to get on campus as well. A lot of people have him pegged to end up at Ole Miss, but everybody in the country is recruiting him. But Trenton Henderson here, you're starting to see that out-of-state group of guys start to kind of take form under Lylan Clark, because Lylan Clark is over-edge recruiting. I mean, when he was brought in, he is over-edge recruiting. Obviously, getting an assist from Kenny Baker. All those guys watch the film together, but he's over-edge recruiting. And Trenton Henderson is one of those guys that Texas is going to make a strong push for. The key with Trenton Henderson, though, is after this unofficial visit, can they secure a June official visit? Can they get him to change up that official visit schedule at all? That's probably will tell you the story on where Trenton Henderson's recruitment goes in terms of making a decision before his senior year.
Gerry, you've got a pretty vast knowledge of how recruiting in the state of Florida works. I think it's worth mentioning kind of how different Pensacola is from other parts of the state. We talk about some of the great athletes that have come out of Pensacola: Emmitt Smith, Derek Brooks, Roy Jones Jr. Gerry, I can't think of the last time Texas, other than Trent Richardson many years ago, I can't think of the last time Texas recruited a Pensacola kid. What separates the Pensacola area from the rest of the state of Florida?
Yeah, I think this is more of Texas just really becoming a player in the state of Florida and putting a lot of resources, and when I say resources, boots on the ground, time spent recruiting the state. I think that's more of it than anything. Mac Brown wasn't going to recruit much in Florida, right? So that was a 15-year window where Texas just wasn't going to recruit the state. But I think Texas moving to the SEC gives them a great opportunity here. But in the Pensacola that's a tough area for anybody to go recruit, because when Florida State's really good, they're tough to beat in Pensacola. If Florida's good, they're tough to beat in Pensacola. And then you have to deal with Auburn and Alabama. I mean, Alabama has got some really good players from Pensacola over the years. Auburn has been in the mix on some really good recruitments there. So that's an area where it's not necessarily it's closest to the Florida State campus, a couple hours away, 2.5 hours away. Still pretty good drive to the Florida campus from Pensacola. But again, it's those 4 schools around Pensacola. Pensacola's kind of out by themselves, closer to Mobile than they are to Tallahassee. So it's an area where teams have had success over the years going in and getting a player. But it's like anything else in the state of Florida. If Florida State's up, kids from that area are tough. If Florida's up, those kids from that area are tough to get. But with Florida State being in flux and Florida, Billy Napier's still trying to break through, I think it gives you an opportunity to go in and win more recruiting battles, especially in areas you normally wouldn't have a chance to.
So Texas is on the attack in the state of Florida. I like that Sark and the staff are being proactive. Look, if everybody in the SEC has said Texas is a home territory, we're going to go into the Lone Star State and recruit. Well, we'll just go into Georgia and Florida and Mississippi and Alabama and maybe even up to the Carolinas and start recruiting there. Gerry, as we wrap up here, again, it's worth repeating those 2 big unofficial visit weekends, March 29th, April 12th, surrounding spring practice. And then we get into June official visits. Gerry, give us a couple things that are top of your mind before we shut it down here.
Yes, it's how many of those guys that Texas is trying to get on campus for the first time that they get on campus this spring. You're not going to get all those guys on campus, but last spring, again, Jamie French had never been on campus. Myron Charles, Josiah Sharmer, Grayson Littleton, Zealous Hicks. And Littleton and Hicks came with 7-on-7 teams, right? But none of those kids had ever been on campus before last spring, and they all ended up being key parts of a number 1 class. So Tristan Keys, the receiver at Hattiesburg, the 5-star. Derek Cooper, the 5-star running back at Chaminade Madonna. Can you get Naeem Burrows away from Florida, the stud fast receiver from Jacksonville Bowl School? Because Florida's got a little juice now with Derek Lagway, right? They need to get him in unofficially this spring before the June official visit, I think, to have a real shot. But then there's kids are all around, like Tristan Phillips, the linebacker from Ventura, California, who's committed to Oregon. He told me, again, I think that was Sunday night, I exchanged messages with him. He hadn't have anything set up, but he would like to get out to Texas. Same thing with Cody Green at Mater Dei. There's probably 30 or 40 kids that have never been on campus at Texas before that are all highly ranked kids around the country that Texas is working to get on campus. And we know what Steve Sarkisian and this staff to date, since they've been at Texas, now that they're really becoming a national recruiting power, if they get those kids on campus in the spring, they end up having real shots in the summertime with these kids to get them back for a June official visit, playing in the SEC, all the guys getting drafted, strong NIL at the University of Texas, been in the college football playoffs 2 straight years. You have big names. I mean, it seems like every 2 weeks, Arch Manning's coming out with an NIL deal, right? And Texas is about to have more national coverage because of the success of the last 2 years in Arch Manning being a quarterback than I think at any time we've seen at Texas, because social media has changed and media has changed, right, Jeff? It's going to be more coverage than when Vince Young was at Texas because of social media. It's just the way the game's changed. So Texas, and Bobby said the other day, is Sark, the NFL Combine was an infomercial for Texas football, more so than ever last weekend. And that's what you're starting to see with this program. So getting these kids on campus this spring, and again, there's probably 30 or 40 kids that if they get them on campus this spring, you'll probably see 10, 12, 14 to go. Those guys make official visits in June, and Texas will probably come away with 5 or 6 of those guys. And so now it's all about getting them on campus. And I think Texas will be successful at that. They won't get them all on campus, but they'll get a lot.
The ball is rolling for recruiting for the Longhorns right now, Jerry. And as we wrap up this edition of the Recruiting Breakdown, one more time, shout out to our sponsor here on the Recruiting Breakdown. That's Mark Saunders.
Yep. Texas All-State agent Mark Saunders serves Austin and Round Rock in the entire state of Texas. He's the only insurance agent you'll need. Everything from your home, car, boat, motorcycle, RV, and ATV. Give Mark Saunders a call today, 512-218-8571. You'll be in great hands with Texas alum Mark Saunders. That's who I'd take my business to. Texas alum Mark Saunders, 512-218-8571.
All right. For all your recruiting news, notes, and nuggets, we'll have you covered here on the channel. Also at ontexasfootball.com. If you're not a member, go to the site right now, sign up, use the promo code OTFOG. That'll get you a 1-year subscription at ontexasfootball.com for $49.95, right around $50. Look, like Jerry just mentioned, you've got some massive visit weekends coming up right around spring ball, and spring ball coverage. We'll have that for you as well all throughout the summer leading up to SEC Media Days. Then you've got camp, official visits in June. Then we've got what should be a great season for the Longhorns, that season opener against Ohio State. You don't want to miss any of it. We'll have you covered at ontexasfootball.com. Again, that promo code OTFOG for your $49.95 subscription for 1 year. All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Recruiting Breakdown. For Gerry Hamilton, I'm Jeff Howe. And until next time, hook 'em.